Have you ever felt like you've done everything you possibly could and nothing changed? Like every door was closed. Every opportunity disappeared. Every prayer seemed to go unanswered. This is the story of a woman who reached that point. A point where she had no more options, no more strength, no more hope. And yet, one prayer changed everything. Stay with me until the end, because this story may remind you that your situation is never too hopeless for God. Sarah sat alone on the edge of her bed, staring at a stack of unpaid bills. The room was silent except for the sound of the ceiling fan slowly turning above her. Just 1 year earlier, her life looked completely different. She had a stable job, a comfortable apartment, plans for the future, dreams she believed were finally coming true. But life has a way of changing without warning. First, the company she worked for announced layoffs. She was among those who lost their jobs. At first, she wasn't worried. She had savings. She had experience. She believed another opportunity would come quickly, but weeks turned into months. Applications were ignored. Interviews led nowhere. Her savings slowly disappeared. The bills kept coming. The pressure kept growing. Every morning, she woke up hoping for good news. Every evening, she went to bed disappointed. Then things became even worse. Her landlord informed her that if she couldn't pay the rent soon, she would have to leave. The little money she had left wasn't enough. She began selling her belongings just to survive. The television went first, then furniture, then jewelry that had sentimental value. Each item sold felt like another piece of her life disappearing. Still, nothing changed. One afternoon, she sat in a crowded bus, looking out the window. People rushed through their day. Everyone seemed to have somewhere to go, a purpose, a future. But Sarah felt completely stuck. She wondered if God had forgotten her. She wondered if her prayers even mattered anymore. After all, she had been praying for months. She had prayed for a job, prayed for provision, prayed for a breakthrough. Yet nothing happened. At least, that's what it seemed. That night, she returned home exhausted. She opened the refrigerator. There was almost nothing left. A few leftovers, a bottle of water, and silence. The kind of silence that feels heavy, the kind that makes you question everything. She sat at the kitchen table and buried her face in her hands. For the first time in her life, she felt completely defeated. Not sad, not discouraged. Defeated. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She didn't know what tomorrow would look like. She didn't know how she would survive another week. She didn't know what to do. Then she remembered something her grandmother used to tell her. When you reach the end of yourself, that's where God begins. The words echoed in her mind. Again and again. When you reach the end of yourself, that's where God begins. That night, Sarah made a decision. Instead of praying another routine prayer, she decided to pour out everything in her heart. No religious words. No perfect sentences. Just honesty. She knelt beside her bed, the same bed where she had cried so many nights before. And she prayed, God, I don't know what to do anymore. I've tried everything I know. I'm tired. I'm afraid. I feel forgotten. But if you're still with me, please help me. I don't need all the answers. I just need enough strength for one more day. Then she said something she had never prayed before. God, even if nothing changes tomorrow, help me trust you anyway. The room remained silent. There was no dramatic sign, no voice from heaven, no sudden miracle. But something changed. Not around her. Inside her. For the first time in months, she felt peace. A peace she couldn't explain. The problems were still there. The bills were still there. But fear no longer controlled her. She went to sleep that night feeling strangely calm. The next morning, she woke up and checked her email. Nothing. No job offers. No breakthroughs. Yet somehow she still felt hopeful. A few hours later, her phone rang. It was a number she didn't recognize. Normally, she would have ignored it. But this time she answered. The caller introduced himself as a hiring manager. Months earlier, Sarah had applied for a position and never heard back. The company had chosen another candidate. But that candidate had unexpectedly declined the offer. Now they were calling Sarah. Could she come in for an interview the next day? Her heart raced. She immediately said yes. The interview went well, but she had learned not to celebrate too early. She had experienced disappointment before. So she waited and prayed. 3 days later, the phone rang again. This time they offered her the job. Not only was it a job, it paid more than her previous position. It included benefits and opportunities she had never imagined. Sarah cried, not because the struggle was over, but because she realized something. God had never abandoned her. Even during the months when nothing seemed to happen, Even during the nights filled with tears, even when every door appeared closed, God was still working. The breakthrough didn't arrive when she wanted it, but it arrived exactly when she needed it. Years later, Sarah would often tell people about that difficult season, but she rarely talked about the job. She rarely talked about the money. Instead, she talked about the prayer. Because the greatest miracle wasn't what happened around her. It was what happened within her. The prayer changed her before it changed her situation. It taught her trust. It taught her patience. It taught her faith. And those lessons remained long after the struggle ended. Maybe you're watching this right now because your own situation feels hopeless. Maybe you're carrying a burden nobody knows about. Maybe you're waiting for an answer, a breakthrough, a miracle. And maybe you're wondering if God hears you at all. If that's you, remember Sarah's story. Sometimes the answer doesn't come immediately. Sometimes the door doesn't open right away. Sometimes the breakthrough takes longer than expected. But a delay is not a denial. The same God who sees the sparrow sees you. The same God who carried Sarah through her darkest season can carry you too. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep moving forward. Because your story is not over yet. And the prayer you pray today may be the prayer that changes everything. If this story encouraged you, don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories about faith, love, relationships, and life. And remember, no situation is hopeless when God is involved.